In the previous episode, we saw how even the new angel got a little interested in Ryu. Well, I guess we will be seeing another holy being turn into holy shit. Then Young Min swore to God he will not mess with Ryu. Then we got to see the first look of Heavenly Demon, who thinks he is the main character of this world. And Ryu went out to recruit his next team member. Then we meet Juri, who secretly loves Ryu, but she wouldn't be able to confess. She was the one whom Ryu wants to recruit into his team without knowing she loves Ryu. Now Ryu was just chilling on his bed, phone in hand, chatting it up with Juri. She asked if he'd eaten yet, and if he hadn't, could they grab some lunch together around 1? Ryu was like, sure thing, I'll foot the bill. They chatted for a bit, but Ryu couldn't help but notice that Juri was being extra friendly and trying real hard to please him. He figured maybe she was really grateful because he'd given her a nice chunk of money, but something about her attitude seemed a bit off to Ryu. He thought to himself that whatever the reason, getting closer to Juri like this might mean he could recruit her into his team down the line. So he put on this serious face, got up from his bed, and made a declaration that he'd do whatever it takes to keep Juri alive until the last round. So guys, today's like goal is 4,200. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I thank you all from the bottom of my ass, bottom of my heart, for supporting the channel. Now let's continue. A little while later, Ryu was all dressed up in a black shirt and black pants. Wani, his little bro, saw him like that and got a bit puzzled. He asked Ryu where he was off to. Ryu simply said he was meeting a friend. Now that threw Wani for a loop, cause you see, Ryu's a single virgin loser with no friends. Plus, he hardly ever dresses up and takes showers, so it was a shocker. So, Wani got straight to the point and asked, is it a friend or a girl? Hearing that, Ryu didn't see any issue and asked if he couldn't have female friends. Then he hit Wani with a warm smile and told him to go ahead and have lunch without waiting for him. With that, he left to meet up with Juri, leaving Wani in a state of shock. It was a lot to take in, and he had to process it all. Finally, it hit him. Is Ryu really going on a date with a girl? The scene changed, and we found ourselves at a fancy restaurant called Steakhouse. It was one of those really, really expensive joints. Inside, Ryu and Juri were having lunch. Ryu had this warm smile on his face as he asked Juri if she liked the juicy steak they were having. Juri, still kinda lost in her daydream, only caught the word like and blushed a bit, asking, do I like what? Ryu clarified, saying he meant the steak, and Juri finally replied that yes, the steaks were absolutely delicious. Ryu told her to go ahead and enjoy as much juicy steak as she wanted, but you could feel the awkwardness settling in. They both sat there, not saying much, and the atmosphere got a bit uncomfortable. Juri was getting more and more shy, not sure how to break the silence. She told herself to be brave and muster up the courage to say something. Finally, she asked Ryu how he managed to win first place in the lottery 115 times. Ryu, with that same warm smile, replied that an old man with a pig on his head came to him in a dream and gave him the winning numbers. Hearing this, Juri tried to picture that old man with a pig on his head and asked Ryu how much he'd won from all those lottery wins. She made it clear that if Ryu didn't want to share, it was totally fine. Ryu, still with that gentle smile, told her that he'd won enough money that he never had to worry about finances for the rest of his life. But to use that money, he'd have to be alive in the next round. Hearing this, Juri hurriedly inquired about Ryu's experience in the first round of the tower. She shared that it felt like being thrown into hell for her, as she had never even killed an ant before, let alone facing the terrifying challenge of taking down 100 goblins. Ryu, with a neutral expression, admitted that it had been quite a challenging experience for him too. Juri then asked Ryu about the zone he was in. Ryu casually sipped his water and replied that he couldn't remember the exact zone number, but the last digit was a 5. Juri, feeling a bit shy, shared that her zone number ended with 7, so it was a shame that they wouldn't be able to meet in the dungeons. She had hoped their zones would be the same. Ryu, with a reassuring smile, thought to himself that she shouldn't be disappointed because in the future, all the zones would merge into one, and they would definitely meet. Juri then inquired about Ryu's level, to which he replied that he was at level 10. She excitedly shared that she was also level 10 and had acquired a class called Supporter. Ryu, intrigued, asked if that meant she could buff other people's stats like in-game. Juri, now more confident, explained that her skill was called Bless, and by using it, she could enhance all the stats of whoever received her blessing. She activated her skill, and a green light emanated from her hand as she placed it close to Ryu's head. A magical pattern formed, and the system notified Ryu that all his stats had been increased by 50%, an effect that would last for 3 hours. Impressed, Ryu complimented Juri, calling her skill cool. Deep down, he already knew about her skill from his previous life, but the feeling of sharing a meal with a friend was new to him, and he genuinely enjoyed it. The awkwardness that had initially hung in the air had dissipated, and they both continued to enjoy their meal with smiles on their faces. Then, Ryu expressed his gratitude to Juri for the buff, feeling invigorated by the enhancement. Juri, however, gave him a playful glare before breaking into a joyful smile. She assured Ryu that it was no big deal, and that if he ever needed anything from her in the future, he could call her any time, and she would be there with her thing. Ryu simply nodded in agreement, saying, "Okay." Then Ryu inquired about what Juri wanted to tell him on the phone, and Juri seemed a bit startled, realizing she should have mentioned it earlier. She playfully scolded herself for being a bit slow. However, with a gentle and warm smile, she began expressing her gratitude to Ryu for the money he had given them. She explained that the money had been a tremendous help, as her family was in debt, and they had managed to repay all their loans thanks to Ryu's assistance. Her father was now happy, all thanks to Ryu's generosity. She also promised that she would find a way to repay the money in the future. Ryu was a bit surprised by this expression of gratitude and told Juri that she didn't need to repay him. He reminded her that he had already acknowledged that he was responsible for her father losing customers, so it was only fair for him to compensate for it. Hearing this, Juri stood up, clapping her hands, and excitedly mentioned that if Ryu didn't want money, she could offer him something else. Then, her hand started to emit a bright yellow light, and she took out an item from her inventory. Curious, Ryu asked her what it was, and Juri extended her hand, revealing a purple crystal with unusual patterns. She admitted that she didn't know what it was, but she had obtained it while killing goblins. She insisted that Ryu take it, and said he couldn't refuse. The scene then shifted to outside the restaurant where Juri bid farewell to Ryu. Ryu, in return, wished her to take care and not to die in the next round. After Juri left the park, Ryu wore a serious expression and opened his inventory to check the description of the peculiar crystal she had given him. The system notification revealed that it was a low-rank purple mana stone. Ryu hadn't expected to obtain this item so soon, especially not from Juri. As Ryu held the purple mana stone high in his hand and gazed at it with a contemplative look, he remarked that he knew exactly what this item was, but hadn't anticipated receiving it, especially not from Juri. He proceeded to explain that once a player reached level 20, they unlocked a feature called Combination. This feature allowed players to fuse mana crystals like the purple one with their equipment, granting the equipment unique skills or attributes. There were 7 types of mana stones: red for damage, orange for strength, yellow for luck, green for agility, blue for intelligence, and dark blue for defense. Ryu emphasized that the purple one was the rarest, with a very low chance of obtaining it. Unlike the other crystals that increased specific attributes, the purple stone enhanced skills or attributes for all stats. With a gentle smile, Ryu expressed his luck at receiving the purple mana stone for free, considering it a fortunate turn of events. He then realized that his luck stat was doubled due to the Bless skill. Was that the reason he was having such a lucky day? However, Ryu's meeting with Juri was primarily thanks to her Bless skill. With only 30 minutes left until the buff expired, Ryu wanted to open the golden mysterious pouch he had acquired in round 2, capitalizing on his doubled luck stat. But before that, Ryu reached into his pocket and pulled out a packet full of small mealworms. Still holding the worms with a serious expression, Ryu proceeded to explain that his slaughterer skill increased all his stats by 1% for each opponent he killed, and this applied to bugs as well. With that, he threw the packet full of bugs onto the ground and, with a solemn face, offered his apology. Then, he began stomping on the bugs. As he continued to stomp, the system notified him of his progress. 45 opponents killed, then 67, until he finally reached his 100th kill, causing all his stats to increase by 100%. After this bug-squashing exercise, Ryu checked his status window. His luck stat had skyrocketed to an impressive 45. Initially, his base luck was 15, but with the help of his slaughterer skill, he had boosted his stats by 100%, bringing his luck stat to 30. The Bless skill from Juri had further increased his stats by 50%, resulting in his luck reaching 45. Ryu then retrieved the mysterious gold pouch, and the system notified him that it was a gold pouch, and upon opening it, one could receive gold coins ranging from 1 to 9,999, determined randomly based on their luck stat. Ryu cautiously opened the pouch, holding high hopes, but expecting to receive no more than 6,000 gold. However, what he witnessed left him utterly astonished. his eyes wide open in surprise. The system notified him that he had obtained a whopping 9,999 gold. Seeing this, Ryu couldn't contain his happiness, exclaiming that today, the god of luck was truly on his side. With this newfound wealth, he now had a total of 16,249 gold. Ryu added that he could buy an epic item with this amount and still have money left over. However, he had no plans to spend any money at the moment, as the item he desired would become available in the shop after 2 weeks. With that decision made, Ryu closed his status window and inventory. The scene then shifted back to Ryu's building. As Ryu entered the room, he greeted Wani, who was sipping hot chocolate. Seeing Ryu, Wani's eyes sparkled with excitement as he eagerly asked how Ryu's date had gone. Ryu, on the other hand, was momentarily taken aback by the question and paused. Without offering any details about the date, Ryu simply sat on the sofa. Wani, sensing his brother's reluctance to discuss it, asked if Ryu wasn't coming home after a date with the girl he had feelings for. Ryu, feeling a bit awkward, replied, dismissing the question and redirecting the conversation by asking what Wani had eaten for lunch. Wani, feeling comfortable in his seat, replied that he had enjoyed black bean noodles, emphasizing how delicious they were. Ryu, with a joyful smile, assured Wani that he could have ordered something even better. Wani pouted, defending his choice of black bean noodle, explaining that he had been craving them for a long time. Ryu reflected on how just 1 month ago, they were in a dire situation and had to beg for food. Now, with money, Wani still enjoyed his previous lifestyle of food, which Ryu found perfectly fine. He was genuinely happy to see Wani enjoying himself. As Wani engrossed himself in watching the epic battle between Luffy and Kaido in one piece, his excitement palpable, Ryu's thoughts were elsewhere. Ryu had his mind on the price of Bitcoin, contemplating that it would rise by a significant margin in the next 2 weeks before potentially crashing. He knew he needed to withdraw his money before the crash, but he had some plans in mind. One of those plans was to buy a Lamborghini. To make this dream a reality, Ryu first decided to obtain his driver's license. He took the driving license exam and aced it with a remarkable 95% score, leaving everyone astonished. With his license secured, Ryu wasted no time and placed an order for a Lamborghini. Finally, the day arrived when the price of Bitcoin increased by a factor of 10, prompting Ryu to swiftly withdraw all his Bitcoin holdings. Now, with a devilish grin on his face, Ryu was visibly pleased with his actions. Seeing him smile like that, Wani couldn't contain his curiosity and asked if something good had happened. Ryu explained that he had just sold all his Bitcoin and made a massive profit. When Ryu asked how much he had earned, he revealed that he had made 300 billion won, equivalent to a staggering $222,662,700. Wani was utterly shocked by the astronomical amount, and he started to shake with disbelief. Ryu casually mentioned that they had multiplied their initial investment by 20-fold and sat back on the sofa, relaxed. Now, Wani, still in disbelief, said when Ryu first told Wani he invested all their money into Bitcoin. Wani wanted to stop Ryu, but now to think they hit the mega jackpot. Ryu, with a warm smile, replied that he was just lucky as he himself didn't know they would have won that big. That's why he withdrew all the money, as greediness leads to destruction. Then Wani asked, "That means Ryu will not invest in Bitcoin anymore?" And Ryu replied, "Yes, no more Bitcoin stuff." Hearing this, Wani let out a sigh of relief as he took a sip of his hot coffee. However, Ryu dropped another bombshell. He planned to invest all the money into stocks. Wani was so shocked that he ended up spilling his hot chocolate, and with teary eyes, he asked Ryu why he was taking such a risky step when they already had enough money to secure their future generations. Ryu remained cool and reassured Wani not to worry, insisting that everything would work out and that he should trust him. Ryu pointed his finger upwards, explaining that an old man with a pig on his head had come to him in a dream and predicted the rise of Bitcoin, which had led to profits. The same old man had also given him insights into which stocks would increase in value, further reinforcing his confidence in the stock market. Hearing this, Wani, still stressed, believed what Ryu told, saying to do as Ryu wished, but at least to keep some money in reserve just in case something happens. Ryu understood Wani's concern, but knew the future and believed that his investments would pay off. Now scrolling his phone, searching multiple companies, Ryu wanted to invest in the company named Heavenly Demon Consulting. This is a no-name company now, but in the future this will become the #1 in Korea and dominate everyone. Ryu purchased a 31% share of the company, ensuring that he would have some influence as it grew. Then a murmur broke Ryu's attention, and as he turned back, he saw Wani intensely praying to the old man with a pin in his head, saying, Please make the company that Ryu is investing in grow. Seeing this, Ryu let out a joyful smile. Then, the night had arrived, and Ryu lay on his bed, eagerly anticipating this day. He opened the store window, revealing a list of various items. Among the options was one called Today's Item. Clicking this option allowed you to obtain a random item ranging from normal rank to high rank. To unlock this chest, you had to pay 4,600 gold. It might seem foolish to open a random chest at such a high price, risking getting a common rank item worth only a few gold. But Ryu knew the future. He had opened this chest 99 times, every other day, and he knew which item would appear. With confidence, he opened the random chest, and voila! Ryu received an epic item called the Skeleton Bone Necklace. It was an epic item with a unique effect. After defeating an opponent, it would increase the intelligence stat by 3 points and attack speed by 1. However, this effect would only last for 1 round, and it was capped at 25%, meaning Ryu could only increase his stats by a maximum of 25%. Ryu then used the 50% coupon he had obtained from a class-changing quest to purchase the necklace at half price, which amounted to 2,300 gold. Now Ryu was fully prepared for the next round. As time passed quickly, the day arrived, March 1st, 2023. Slowly but surely, one by one, the players started to appear on the third round of the dungeon. A dense and tense atmosphere enveloped the area as the players whispered among themselves, wondering what this place was. The players began to explore their surroundings, realizing that this place was once a village that now lay in ruin. They saw the remnants of what used to be a thriving village, but it had been reduced to rubble. A massive castle gate loomed over the village, surrounded by the remnants of a fortress. The atmosphere was thick with tension and uncertainty. Suddenly, a massive purple crystal materialized in the middle of the village, causing panic among the players. Anxiety filled the air, but Ryu, standing calmly in the background, didn't seem fazed. Then Ryu noticed the musclehead. Some players started to gossip while seeing the musclehead, saying the last round he became the zone leader by threatening everyone, and he literally started slaughtering whoever didn't obey his command. Some even started saying the musclehead is not worthy of becoming a zone leader, and Black Scythe should be the zone leader. Then one player, in panic, said to his friend not to say it so loudly as if the musclehead heard him. He could use his authority skill on him and make his life miserable. But he, with an arrogant tone, replied that he doesn't care, as the musclehead can only use his skill 10 times, and after that, he is no more than an ordinary player. So what is there to be scared of? Now hearing this, the musclehead got furious and started shouting, calling them bastards, but the whispering didn't stop, and the players again started to make fun of the musclehead. Now the musclehead got furious. His blood started to boil, and he turned with great force, started shouting, asking who mother air just spoke, but everyone was just silent, and the musclehead couldn't do anything in this position. He started to grind his teeth in anger, thinking he knew this would happen, only if that bitch Angel didn't reveal everything related to his skill. Things would have been different, but then something funny happened. Well, you see, suddenly Youngman came and arrived on the scene with quite a dramatic entrance. He forcefully bowed his head before the musclehead, exclaiming a loud and cheerful, "Hello?" The musclehead was taken aback by this sudden display and inquired about the newcomer's identity. Youngman, his voice tinged with submission, introduced himself as Youngman and respectfully addressed the musclehead as his senior. He explained that he had come to pay his respects to the musclehead. This response left the musclehead somewhat puzzled. He questioned whether he knew Youngman, to which Youngman replied that they were strangers. However, he confessed that his life's ambition was to become a gangster just like the musclehead, and that he was a massive fan. The musclehead couldn't help but be surprised by Youngman's unusual aspirations. He wondered, what kind of crazy guy dreams of becoming a gangster like me? Youngman went on to express his admiration for the musclehead, stating that he wished to join the musclehead's team. Before the musclehead could respond, Youngman just came to his knees and bowed his head, saying he will serve the musclehead for the rest of his life and will do anything that the musclehead will say. And he requested, saying, "Please, I beg you, take me in." Now seeing this, the musclehead started to laugh, thinking he has seen all types of psychos in his life, but it is the first time he saw this type of psycho. However, before any further developments could occur, the other players began to threaten the musclehead, suggesting that they would gang up to eliminate him. Just then, the angel appeared with a loud laughter. Suddenly, a system notification popped up, saying that this time only 25% of players will survive. As in the previous round, no one died, and this round will be really fun. A terrifying atmosphere surrounded the place. So, the episode ends here.